NORAD and military aircraft spotted and tracked the latest object, as search continues off Alaska for aircraft down Friday. A new high-altitude airborne object was shot down over Canada's Yukon territory, senior U.S. and Canadian officials said Saturday evening, the latest in what has become a string of responses to unusual aerial craft over North America. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau disclosed the latest incident, saying in tweets that Canadian and U.S. fighter aircraft had been scrambled and that a U.S. F-22 successfully fired at the object. The Federal Aviation Administration on Saturday night temporarily closed airspace in Montana after the U.S. military detected a radar anomaly in the sky, Pentagon officials said, marking the third mysterious incident in North American airspace over just the past 24 hours. Military officials said that U.S. fighter jets were dispatched but did not find an object. With the cooperation of the Federal Aviation Administration, North American Aerospace Defense Command implemented a temporary flight restriction airspace in central Montana on February 11, 2023, to ensure the safety of air traffic in the area during NORAD operations, NORAD and U.S. Northern Command said in a statement late Saturday evening. The restriction has been lifted. NORAD detected a radar anomaly and sent fighter aircraft to investigate. Those aircraft did not identify any object to correlate to the radar hits. NORAD will continue to monitor the situation. The temporary airspace closure came just hours after American fighter jets shot down a cylindrical UFO in the skies over Canada's Yukon territory. While military officials said that U.S. pilots did not identify a UFO, Montana lawmakers said earlier Saturday evening that the airspace was closed due to an object in the skies. I am in direct contact with U.S. Northern Command and monitoring the latest issue over Havre, Montana, and the northern border. Airspace is closed due to an object that could interfere with commercial air traffic. The DoD will resume efforts to observe and ground the object in the morning, Representative Matt Rosendale, Montana Republican, said in a Twitter message. Senator Jon Tester, Montana Democrat, echoed reports of an object. I am aware of the object in Montana airspace and remain in close contact with senior DoD and administration officials. I am closely monitoring the situation and am receiving regular updates. I will continue to demand answers for the American public, he said in a Twitter post. The brief airspace shutdown came just hours after a U.S. fighter aircraft shot down a high-altitude airborne object flying over Canadian airspace on Saturday. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said in a post on Twitter that Canadian and U.S. aircraft were scrambled after an unidentified object violated Canadian airspace. The object, later described by Canadian officials as a small cylindrical object, was shot down over Canada's Yukon territory by a U.S. F-22 fighter. It was the second UFO to be shot down over the past 24 hours. On Friday, U.S. fighter jets shot down an unidentified object over Alaskan coastal waters. The second object was first spotted on Thursday, officials said, and F-35 fighter jets were sent up to examine the object further. The object was flying at 40,000 feet, which posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight, John Kirby, the National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications, said on Friday. Biden was first briefed on this object on Thursday evening, Kirby said. A statement Saturday from U.S. Northern Command said search and recovery operations for the object shot down over Alaska were ongoing. Recovery activities are occurring on sea ice, the statement said. We have no further details at this time about the object, including its capabilities, purpose, or origin. The balloon was spotted after entering the U.S. Air Defense Identification Zone over Alaska on January 28 before flying over Canada, a Department of Defense official told lawmakers last week. It then re-entered continental U.S. airspace 3 days later. Officials said that the risk of intelligence collection against the U.S. was low, while the risk to people and property on the ground, if the balloon were to be shot down over the U.S., was high given the balloon's size and weight. Instead, the military ultimately shot it down over water after it crossed over the east coast of the U.S. On Friday, the U.S. military shot down a high-altitude object over Alaska after U.S. officials determined that it posed a reasonable threat to civilian air traffic as it was flying at 40,000 feet. The object was brought down by fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command, and Biden referred to the operation as a success. Recovery teams are now attempting to retrieve the debris that is sitting on top of ice in U.S. territorial waters. While officials have given no indication so far that the object shot down over Alaska is at all related to the Chinese spy balloon, details have been scarce. A week earlier, U.S. military fighter jets shot down the suspected Chinese surveillance balloon over the Atlantic Ocean, ending a remarkable public drama that prompted a diplomatic fallout between Washington and Beijing as the American public tracked the balloon from Montana all the way to the Carolinas. The Biden administration has been subjected to a slew of questions this week about the timing of the president's decision to shoot the spy balloon. With the cooperation of the Federal Aviation Administration, North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, implemented a temporary flight restriction airspace in central Montana on February 11, 2023, to ensure the safety of air traffic in the area during NORAD operations. The restriction has been lifted, NORAD said in a statement. NORAD detected a radar anomaly and sent fighter aircraft to investigate. Those aircraft did not identify any object to correlate to the radar hits. NORAD will continue to monitor the situation. I'm in direct contact with the Pentagon regarding the object in Montana's airspace and will receive frequent updates, Senator Steve Danny said in a tweet Saturday. Montanans still have questions about the Chinese spy balloon that flew over our state last week. I'll continue to demand answers on these invasions of U.S. airspace.